This is it, guys and gals, we are finally at the end. If you missed my other E3 2018 predictions, there's a link to the playlist in the top right, but enough of the plugging, it's time to talk about Sony's press conference. After the never-ending onslaught of first-party announcements that was E3 2016, Sony has had some high expectations to satisfy, but I'm going to tell you right now that you should not expect that kind of conference. Not only because Sean Layden has said that they're doing something different this year, but because it is not feasible to announce that many first-party titles every year. It's not even feasible to do it every other year. So what should we expect from Sony? Let's start with the pre-show. This is something that Sony has been utilising very well over the last few years. They know that the vast majority of gamers just want to see the big stuff, so they put the smaller things like lesser known titles, indies and VR games in the pre-show, allowing for a much more breakneck pace during the main event, which is important for a conference. It is essential to understand that half of the battle is the pacing of the show. It will heavily influence the way that viewers feel about it afterwards. What should we expect from the main event then? Well, we already know that we'll be getting deep dives into 4 major titles. Marvel Spider-Man, which I think will open the show with a 10 to 15 minute demo and possibly a reveal for the Green Goblin. Ghost of Tsushima, which will get a 10-minute demo followed by a quick trailer with a release year of 2019. Death Stranding. Kojima will be there playing the game for no more than 10 minutes, and the demo will also be followed by a trailer but with no release window. Although, I think it might be a 2020 game. And The Last of Us Part 2. A 10 to 15 minute demo that will close the show, although I'll explain why that might not be the case just a little bit later. And it will have a release year attached for 2019. I think a small team has been working on The Last of Us Part 2 on and off ever since the first one was released back in 2013. And so the game may be a little further on than we realise. But what exactly makes these demos deep dives? Perhaps we'll get some commentary over them or after them, which I think could only serve to ruin the momentum of the show, just like it does at every other conference. I do like gaining insight from developers, but I feel like there is a time and a place, and E3 is neither of those, at least not to me. Let me know if you feel differently though. However, a way I think commentary could work is if it's pre-recorded and highly produced. Just reduce any potential awkwardness that there might be. Basically don't have anyone on stage to talk extensively about a game. Trust me, it will get boring, and it will get boring quick. Now that we've gotten the big 4 out of the way, what else can we expect, or is that it? I think we should most definitely expect reveals from third-party studios, as well as short trailers for Days Gone and Dreams, both of which will get a release window. I think Days Gone will be early 2019, probably around February sometime, and Dreams maybe in December, just so it's away from all the other competition. I also think the heavily teased beta for Dreams will be available immediately after the show. But there is also room for more PlayStation exclusive game announcements. None from any first parties, of course. That would be ridiculous, since the only studios that haven't announced their next projects are Guerrilla Games and Santa Monica Studio. Horizon just came out last year, and God of War came out not even 2 months ago. It would be absolutely absurd to get announcements from these guys. Sony already has a packed slate of exclusives. There is no need to force more long-winded announcements. Besides, Horizon 2 and the God of War sequel, whenever they may come out, are most definitely going to be PS5 games. It would be stupid if they weren't. Having these 2 studios ready to release their next project at the start of the next generation would be a home run for Sony. Before we dive further into the PlayStation exclusives, let's talk about the third-party multi-platform games that could appear, besides the obvious Call of Duty and Destiny 2, which I hope aren't even there because they suck. I think we'll get 3 major third-party multi-platform announcements on Sony's stage. The first being From Software's new game. I don't think it's actually called Shadows Die Twice, and I don't think it's Bloodborne 2, because of the Japanese writing in the trailer, or at least I think it's Japanese. Is that racist? I think it will be a Souls-like game, but it will not be exclusive. I just think it's going to be announced on Sony's stage. The final 2 announcements will come from Warner Bros. Montreal and Rocksteady. WB Montreal hasn't put out a single game since 2014, and that was a bloody Lego game. Their next project is 100% DC related. I think it will be the Damian Wayne Batman game that we've heard about in leaks, but I also think it may be a hybrid of that story and Batman Beyond, where Damian is in the suit instead of Terry. There is absolutely no weight to this theory, I just think it would be cool. It's far more likely that they'll just continue the Arkham franchise from where Rocksteady left it. Warner Bros. Doesn't exactly strike me as the kind of publisher that encourages new ideas from inexperienced developers. And as for Rocksteady, Superman. It has got to be Superman. I'm not even a massive fan of the Man of Steel, but the thought of a Superman game made by Rocksteady is just too good to pass up. And at this point, I think I might be disappointed if it's anything else. Oh, and neither will release in 2018. Not a single chance. Now then, let's talk about these PlayStation exclusive games that aren't from Sony's first-party studios. First is Supermassive Games' new project. We know that they've been doing smaller things like Hidden Agenda and The Impatient, but I would be shocked if they didn't have an Until Dawn style game in the works. I don't think it'll be a direct sequel to Until Dawn, but it will definitely utilise the same gameplay style. I think we'll also see one of 2 things from Capcom. One is the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's been almost 3 years since it was announced, so it's time to shit or get off the pot. The second is Devil May Cry 5. I don't think it'll be a true exclusive, but instead a console exclusive, whilst also heading to the PC. And it will look Muy bien. And for the final exclusive, remember in the beginning of the video when I said that The Last of Us Part 2 might not close the show? I mean, it probably will, it most definitely will actually, but just humor me for a minute. Imagine this. A gameplay demo starts up. It's an open world game, no hint of what it is or who the developer is. There's some kind of hooded, masked character on the screen running across the rooftops, fighting bad guys. As the demo progresses, we start to see more weapons in play. They seem somewhat futuristic for the setting. Then, jump just before the end of the demo, a big fight breaks out between lycans, vampires and humans, and the masked character is revealed to be Sir Galahad. Boom! The Order 1887 is revealed and it looks fucking good. The Order 1886 sucked, but it had so much potential that it is actually upsetting, so it would be a shame if there wasn't a sequel. This little pitch that I just gave you is the only way that it would work. The Order might have made a profit, but it left a sour taste in people's mouths. So if you tell people it's the Order 1887, they will immediately lose interest and switch off. Whereas if you let people like it before you put a label on it, it may stand a chance. Before I wrap this up, Sony just announced it's going to be making an announcement every day in the lead up to its conference. That's pretty ballsy. They've either got a packed show or they got fuck all to show, so they're really dragging it out. Never mind all that though, when are we getting a Crash Team Racing remake? Hey, whose dick I gotta suck to get some more crack?